All right, we are back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Carter is out today, and Richie's going to be joining me shortly. Just we were off yesterday, Veterans Day. Hopefully, everybody had a great Veterans Day, and thank the veteran for paying the service, so we get to do things like the show, and everybody has their freedoms. So just wanted to take the time out to thank all the people for what they do and what they've sacrificed for us and everybody around. But with that being said, we're gonna get into the show today. We got some stuff from social media that we got rolling, and then tonight at 8:30, the college football preview show. We put our graphic out earlier on Instagram and on TikTok and Twitter. Thanks to Carter for helping me out with that and making the graphic. So yeah, we got the selection show coming on at 8:30. So we're gonna take you right up into that moving forward, and then we're here we go right here. The first item up for business is we seen this on the internet today. An opposing coach gave that to another coach as a lineup card, and that is a very interesting way of saying stop recruiting my players. Um, Obviously with the transfer portal, everything uh, going on and moving forward is a issue as far as the tampering thing and people calling out other coaches for tampering. And don't know where the coaches are from. I'm assuming it's a that's a baseball lineup card to me. Uh, to be honest, I'm not really shocked that something like this would happen, um, especially baseball, especially in college baseball. Um, the the amount of recruiting that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see, um, just some of the underhanded things. It is it is a wild endeavor to me that you're forever you're re-recruiting your own roster, especially when you have when you got people that are telling them the grass is greener on the other side. So that is a major issue. I take a major offense to that if I was an opposing coach and we had we had things going on like that at the Division 1 level, and that just goes to show you, yeah, Braden, that is creative. That just goes to show you that what's the links that some of these coaches are willing to go to in order to um, in order to steal another player. I just have never seen anything like that. So here we are. But moving on to the next order of business, and it's something that I have a major issue with. uh, the Florida rough weekend is a wild endeavor. They were I believe like 0-13 or something like that in football wise. Everybody lost except FAU, I believe, and they were on a bye. So that's what we had going on for the state of Florida. University of Florida got blown out. Miami goes down. The Fighting Tom Hermans take a dump. As somebody put on a message board that I seen, Brett Keefe farted on Mario Cristobal's head. We were at the cigar lounge, and I didn't get to thank those people enough. Thanks for Cigar 30 for hosting our live show and allowing us to use our members their members lounge. It was really a good time. Uh, yeah, and Yeah, Notre Dame won in a big way. And let me see where. Yeah, and Richie just joined in. I'm gonna add Richie. Rich, what's up, man?
What's up, Duke? Long time no see, buddy.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody your way's doing well. Just talking. We were just talking about the rough weekend the state of Florida had.
Oof, brutal.
Yeah, especially both NFL teams lost. Every major college football team lost except FAU, I believe. They just they were on a bye, so they couldn't lose. But it was a rough weekend, and I guess leading into that, talking about the rough weekend that was for the state of Florida as far as college football wise. Um, whenever we break this down, Florida State makes some very interesting moves um, to me, and I don't believe um, Mike Norvell. I believe Mike Norvell was the offensive play caller. Um, I'm very baffled by firing the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. Um, Obviously, the recruiting class has fallen apart, but I don't think it's the OC and the DCs. I don't think that they should have to fall on the sword on this one. As the head coach, you have to resume a sponsor or resume responsibility for everything that goes on in the program. And Alex Atkins was a rising star. Some people said he was a head coaching candidate at the end of last year. Um, so I find it very odd, very puzzled by this decision. What say you, Rich?
Yeah, it's interesting that he decided to kick those guys to the curb when ultimately he is the head CEO of his program. Um, it's going to take some, I would say, time to look in the mirror, reevaluate and see who we can come up with to replace those guys.
Yeah, I just thought it was very strange that you're staring 1-9 in the face, and you decide at the end of the year that you're going to let your OC and DC go. I just think it's a cowardly chicken shit move, in my opinion. Uh, that's just the way I look at it. I've never I've I've never been a big fan of letting an OC or a DC go in the middle of the season, regardless of how bad it really is. But I don't think it's I just don't think it's the right move because, in your current recruiting class, Alex Atkins was a hell of a recruiter. So I think that it does not it doesn't equal out to me. It seems like there's more there a little bit in my opinion. Um it is not I don't like this move. I think it's a bad move for Florida State. I don't think it
Yeah, I think it's a bad look. They should have waited till if he was going to fire him, wait till at least the end of the year to fire him, not do it right now when the ship has already been sinking on this season.
see this is something that he brings up here. That's the exact same thing we've been saying here. I don't. I just don't think that it's a positive look on your program. It makes it look disorganized. Um, yeah, 100% right here. Yeah, he's pinning
Yeah,
pinning the
starts at the
blame,
top.
but
Yep.
I just think it was a miseval at quarterback, and it just spiraled out of control big time. And they couldn't get a handle on it. I mean, you got dismantled in Ireland uh, by Georgia Tech, and then it just kept on rolling from there. Boston College. You know, how bad do you feel if you're the Cal Golden Bears that you lost to them? I mean, that's their only win so far this year, and
Yeah,
I
the,
just
you got to think like what did we go wrong playing Florida State? Like What happened?
I believe that's what happens when you get a band of mercenaries and you miseval the quarterback, and you have an offense that is set up for like a Jordan Travis that can stand back there and throw the ball 60 times a game. DJU is not that guy, and I almost not absolving him of all blame, but I think they've put him in an offense that does not suit him because he's more of a pro. To me, he's more of like a under center pro style quarterback, not like a spread quarterback. I just think it's a bad look on their end of it. So I guess we'll see how it pans out. But tonight also we got a couple of Maction games going on. Didn't know if you were tuned into those or not, Rich.
Yeah, I got what is it? Bowling Green and Western Michigan going on right now.
Yeah, Bowling Green, Western Michigan. The Rockets are in action, and I believe there's one more. I'm trying to get that looked up. Ball State,
Ball
Buffalo.
State and Buffalo, Central Michigan and Toledo, Western Michigan and BG.
So they just showed Central Michigan sideline. It is looks Connor Stalions free.
Yeah, that's always a plus.
Yeah. So moving on here after the dumpster fire that is Florida State. Yeah. One last thing I'll add on that is that I think a lot of people make fun of Dabo and say he's getting passed by. I mean, he's not staring at 1-9.
No, he's not. I mean, he still has a shot possibly at the ACC championship, but we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. I mean, don't they have to go to South Carolina?
Yeah, they got South Carolina at the end of the year, I believe.
At South Carolina?
No, I think it's in Memorial Stadium, Death Valley, the other Death Valley. And Carter put together a graphic today for us. Our college football, our top 18 and what we got going on this. Is there anything that sticks out? And I'm wondering how close we're going to be to the final result that comes out tonight at 8:30. We're going to take you all the way up until that. And anything that jumps off at the page at you right away, Rich?
I'm surprised Boise State has not jumped a little bit.
I think they're going to keep Boise State at the
12 spot.
At the 12 spot, just for the simple fact of it doesn't muck up everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with the way the first row of teams are. Penn State's gonna stay there until somebody gets beat up. But real quick, we got a comment here. Get this rolling. It's hard for me to read that. I love Dabo, but when he got with the program, but he hasn't had to rent a team. Yeah, the thing with real quick before we dive into the thing with Dabo is that Dabo got that job and he's hit on. I mean, he had 3 years of Trevor Lawrence. He had 3 years of Deshaun Watson. Taj Boyd was just okay. But whenever you look at it, Dabo had 2 first-round draft picks for 6 years of his pure dominance. And, Klubnik and those guys that have came after him, DJU was supposed to be the second coming, and then it was supposed to be Cade Klubnik. So Dabo's kind of ran into, mediocre.
He's kind of missing. He's kind of missing on those guys.
He's running into mediocre quarterbacks, and I think Clemson has some other issues, but I do think that the mediocreness at quarterback has hurt him going forward in a lot of spots. Some people can say, it's the program's falling apart. Well, the infrastructure is relatively good. It's just, he hasn't hit on another big time quarterback yet.
Right.
He's going through the Kyle McCord phase of quarterbacks right now. You had a plenty of riches there for a while, and then he just run out. And also, for the most of Dabo's reign, Georgia was down and Kirby was building it. So I think that plays another big role into the who, what, when, where, why of Clemson's kind of struggle of late. But anyway, we'll hop right back in on the playoff rankings. Oregon, no disagreement there.
No disagreement there.
Ohio State, no disagreement. No. Texas is the interesting one for me. I think the thing that's going to hurt them going forward is the SEC championship, because they're actually, out of all the teams that are on this playoff ranking, Texas is one of the ones with the weakest schedule out of the top 18 we have.
Mm-hmm.
The only team that they really see is Georgia and A&M. So they pretty much dodged everybody going forward. They have no Bama. Brendan, these are what we came up with last week when we put out our rankings. We
17 out of 18.
Yeah, we had 17 out of the 18 teams. So, and we're just going through our ranking right now. So Texas, yeah, I think as long as they got a playoff game at the end of the year with A&M so we're about to find out. And then in 2 weeks, Ohio State, Indiana have a playoff game essentially for the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, that's seeding. That's a pre-qualifier right there.
Yeah, I think we're looking at a bigger game than what people want to believe. I definitely did not have Indiana, Ohio State, one loss between the two going into, week 12 or 13, playing for a chance to go to the Big Ten title.
Right. Me either.
So, some people
we all thought that game in November was going to mean something.
Mm-hmm.
The last week in November, not the week before.
Yeah. I believe it's a wild endeavor that we've came down this college football season. No matter how you slice it as a whole, it has been very interesting. Hasn't been boring at all. We've had, to start it off, we had Florida State, Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech were off the rip.
So it's one of those that, it's kept us on his feet. So Penn State, no argument there.
No, because they did lose, they did lose by 2 touchdowns, technically. They could have lost by, it could have been 27-3 or 27-6 with that game. But I'm not worried about that one. I think that one's good where it's at.
So this week we have another pseudo playoff game. We have Georgia, Tennessee that we got rolling. Oh, Brendan, you think Notre Dame should be number 7? I don't disagree, but when it comes to this, Tennessee was ranked ahead of Notre Dame, so Tennessee was going to move up regardless. And then Georgia lost to Ole Miss. And everybody can say what they want. we'll just jump to the second tier here. BYU kept it rolling. BYU kept it rolling and they won. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Alabama, I went back and watched that game. Impressive win by Alabama.
Very impressive. Complete and utter domination. You and I both were completely. Who'd you pick that game? Did you pick Bama?
No, I picked LSU.
I picked LSU too because I thought they had the home crowd and they were going to. That was going to be the deciding factor. Boy, was we were way off. I did not think that shellacking was going to happen by Bama. Hey, hats off to them. They came out and showed out and took their lunch and ate it right in front of them.
Well, the wild thing is it was a very, very complete domination by Alabama. Alabama just came out, and it was the first time that they had like that business mentality. They come out of the gate and they did not back down. They did not waver, and they just took it to LSU, and Brian Kelly's team's done. I just don't see in a world where you are going to get 3 teams in the college football playoff. It's just not going to, or a 3-loss team in the playoff. It's just not going to happen. Maybe in years down the road, but not this year.
I just saw on the ticker that USC was just put on probation for coaching violations.
USC, what the hell what did they do?
I don't know. It was 22 and 23. I saw it was under the Western Michigan Bowling Green game.
That's what
Lincoln Riley's gone. He's going to the NFL. Calling it right now. Book it. He's going to the Browns.
Oh, yeah. Our buddy Carter will not like that.
Oh, Carter will love that hiring.
Yeah, I mean, they could use an offensive guy in Cleveland.
Well, Stefanski is an offensive guy. It's just the Browns.
Yeah.
Notre Dame. Where we get
all right. So Alabama, Notre Dame had a huge win against Florida State. It was not it's Florida State. I mean, it cost Alex Atkins and the other guy his job. But I just think it's very, very disingenuous. And then Brendan here has an interesting ranking of his own. He says Indy 7, BYU 8, SMU 9, Alabama 10, Miami 11, Boise 12. I think it's not that I don't disagree with what Brendan was saying there.
Right.
I think BYU is going to get a little bit of a bump just for the simple fact of they're going to be a conference champion. I don't know if you agree with that or not, Rich.
I would say so too, unless they lose to Colorado in the championship. Unless Colorado can get to the Big 12 and beat them.
Yeah, I think the Big 12 championship game is going to be for the title and for a playoff spot. I don't think that is out of the realm of possibility. And Colorado seems like they're for real, and they could definitely beat BYU. Right. I don't know where the Big 12 championship game is played, but
I think it's played in Dallas. I think it's played in Arlington.
Oh, Jerry's World.
Jerry's World.
Yeah, and me and Carter had a chat about this a few weeks ago, and McChesney brought it up on his show the other day. The talking heads are already talking about Deion Sanders possibly to the Cowboys. Him and Shedeur, a package deal.
Didn't I say that? I feel like
Yeah, some of the people, but now that the national media has picked it up, ESPN, the czars.
Oh,
They are
yeah, they're the all-knowing
yes,
oracles.
yes,
Yeah, sorry
yes.
about that. Yeah, forgot.
The oracles. When a lot of information nowadays is getting broken through podcasts and independent journalism because they are failing at their jobs miserably. But as I'm reading some of this USC stuff, that we'll pause on the back end on the rankings real quick. USC will pay a $50,000 fine. Number of coaches. This has to do with remember when you saw before they changed the rules, Cliff Kingsbury
Yeah,
coaching. That's what this comes down to is pretty much participated on and off the field coaching activities which uh, permitted NCAA violations. That it violated the head coach responsibility rules in failing to monitor the circumstances that led to the violations. Due to some of those violations occurring before the NCAA rule change, since Lincoln Riley was not personally involved nor aware of the violations at the time that the infractions occurred, the NCAA has chosen not to suspend him, which that's a hunk of shit because he was right on the sidelines when Kingsbury was a Kingsbury was down there coaching Caleb Williams. It was on TV. I believe JB said something about it on his show. Like they paused it, and Kingsbury's got a headset on instructing Caleb Williams. This is the wildest thing.
wow.
And then, Cartman took down the playoff thing. I believe the next,
Cartman.
yeah, the next team on the playoff ranking, Old Miss was at 10. Any disagreement with them coming off that big win in Georgia or against Georgia at home?
No, I think they should be where they're at. Who they got the rest of the way? Let me see here. They got Florida, Mississippi State. I mean, they could still.
No.
Still.
Well, they got the vaunted Florida Gators. I know Carter's been really down on the Gators this year, but don't sleep on the dogs over there at Starkville. Don't sleep on the dogs. Ole Miss has got another thing is at the press conference, Lane Kiffin brought up his dad, Monty Kiffin, great coordinator, great coach.
Great coordinator, the pioneer of the Tampa 2.
Yeah, so it's one of those that, I believe Lane's quote, I don't have it 100%, but I believe Lane's quote is that he's like, Dad would have liked that victory today. It was a gritty win, and which it was.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss being 10. I mean, Ole Miss, this was a signature Kiffin win, I think, for the program.
Right.
As far as they were sputtering, everybody was kind of jumping off the Ole Miss train. Well, Lane Kiffin basically stole your sandwich, took a bite, and kicked in the door. At this point, so I think Ole Miss is a very, very viable candidate. They may not make the SEC championship game, but if you're Ole Miss, you're sitting pretty good. You might get a matchup between Tennessee or Penn State or Colorado, and you may not host a playoff game, but Jackson Dart is on fire. The one lady on that was on the Manning cast said something about Jackson Dart not throwing for 500 yards against Georgia. Well, he didn't throw for 500 yards, but won the game.
Yeah. And throw for 500 yards. Who was that said that?
I believe Maria Taylor or something like that.
Oh
Some
God.
here's another one. Ole Miss should be ranked higher than Bama. Do you think that's a more impressive win? I think this is just my personal.
I think that win carries more weight than the Alabama at LSU game.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, look at them. They limited Georgia to 10 points.
Yeah, I mean
And
that
then
Ole Miss.
they were the number 3 team in the country. When you limit the number 3 team in the country to 10 points, I think that's gotta carry its weight in gold, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a wild endeavor, though. You know, Ole Miss's defense is playing out of their mind. So, and then we have Georgia on top of taking the loss. Georgia would be the last Power Four team in. Some would say Miami, but I think, you know, right before we jump to that bottom tier, I'll reset the show. Georgia sputtering. They got Tennessee this week. The gauntlet does not stop. If in 2-3 weeks, I would not be shocked if Georgia didn't make it. I would not be. The way Carson Beck has been playing.
If they didn't make it to the playoffs?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be shocked if they lost. If they lost to Tennessee, yeah, they're kiss their season goodbye. Kiss the playoffs goodbye.
Well,
Tennessee only has one loss, so that was the Arkansas.
Yeah, so whenever I totally misread this. Whenever we were looking at this, Georgia's the first team out. Technically, Miami would be the ACC champion as a bye. So real quick, we'll reset the show here. For everybody watching out there on Twitter and YouTube, get into the conversation and hit the like and subscribe button. We're trying to grow this show. We are Monday through Friday show, and during the season, a Saturday show. We're just coming off doing our first live show. You know, if you could hit the like and subscribe button and help us grow this thing, it would be much appreciated. We just got done at Cigar 30. The great folks over there, a lot of the great people. We got to hang out in the members lounge. If you're in the Canton area, go check out Cigar 30. Definitely worth its weight. Got a great cigar selection. So
great cigar selection, great bourbon, great whiskey selection. They do have beer if you're ever in town and you decide to go over and have a stick. Mary Lou, Mitch, Dylan, the whole crew will take care of you. I've been a faithful customer for the last three years, going on 4. So take my word for it, you will not be disappointed. And Duke, I mean, that was your first time. Compare that to one that's in your area.
Not to throw some shade, but their humidor is like 2 times the size of the one in my area. So they had a huge selection of cigars. It was just, I can't believe the night and day difference. So that is what it is. And everybody hit the like and subscribe button. Also, we'll get back to it whenever producer Carter can get
is producer Ed off for the night.
Yeah, producer Ed needed the night off. Carter is helping out behind the scenes tonight, picking up for the slack on Ed's behalf. Ed had to go eat some sandwiches.
Well, that was all you can wing night.
Oh yeah, it's probably all you can eat wing night wherever Ed's at. So, Boise State being the Group of 5 representative, that's that's pretty much set in stone. I would pretty much
I feel
say.
like that's not going to change at all for them. They're going to still be at 12.
Yeah.
Unless some
I
freak show happens with the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
and Brendan here's got an argument, or we already grabbed that. We grabbed that already. So I just want to make sure we're staying up on the comments. And if you're watching out there on Twitter, come on over to YouTube and join the conversation like some of the other people have out here. So the ACC is going to be determined just like the Big 12 on the last day. It's either going to probably be Miami or SMU, whoever wins the duel. And what does that say about the ACC that SMU comes in there and wins it? Their first year.
Wins it year one. It took Miami 20?
Yeah, Miami 20 years to even get close to get a sniff of the ACC championship game. And that one of the bigger things is that we don't need the Wolverines, the Miami Hurricanes morphing with the Michigan fans. Brendan brings up an interesting point here. It's a let me get.
They'll at least put one SEC team in there. They got to.
Well, I don't know what they're gonna do if they have a couple that have 3 losses. I
think they could bend the rules. They'd be like, well, it's the SEC. They play each other. They're all right. They can make they can manipulate it however the hell they want.
But I think it's gonna be a hard argument, because if you're a 2-loss Clemson, how can you put in a 3-loss LSU or somebody like that? That's all I'm saying. I think Ole Miss wins out. Their best chance of anything happening is, Billy Napier at Florida. We've talked that into submission.
Yeah.
So we'll stay on the bottom rung here. SMU's only loss this year is by 1 point to BYU, and I believe it was at their place. So I think SMU and Miami is going to come down to the last day of the season and championship weekend. Texas A&M, they've got a shot. They got one shot at Texas at the end of the year. They just completely got jumped on at South Carolina. So I think South Carolina in the SEC is the top 5 toughest places to play, especially at night.
Right. I would agree. I would agree with that. Was it last week? Not this week, the week before, where they were playing A&M? Is that right?
Yes.
That place looked.
Got another one. In 11-2, here, I'll just throw it up. What do you think about this, Rich? In 11-2, Miami with a loss to SMU will get in over those teams? I don't know. I would think so.
I say yeah. I say they do. If there's 3 lost teams between Ole Miss, Georgia, and Alabama, yeah, Miami's going to leapfrog them, and they're going to get in.
I would, because I think they're going to have an out on the rankings and try to pull they're not ranked high enough. That's right. I just think something wonky is going to happen.
Oh, you know it is.
Because then that leaves the argument for Clemson. Let's say BYU loses a game. Well, do you put BYU in over a 3-loss SEC team? That's
their only loss. Yeah.
That's the whole argument here. And we could talk this into submission and talk circles around it, because we could argue both sides of it. Because you could, I don't know, Army's got Notre Dame coming up, and let's say worst case scenario, Notre Dame loses and Notre Dame goes to a 2-loss team.
Ooh. That throws a ratchet a wrench in the whole thing.
Because where we're at here is one of those deals that, you know, it's a huge deal because Brendan says Notre Dame's out for sure. Well, how do you put Notre Dame out when you want to put a 3-loss Georgia in? It's going to be bizarre, but we're closing in on the end of the rankings here. Try to recap some stuff before we hit that 8:30 mark, and let everybody go watch the college football playoff. Clemson at 16. Any disagreement there, Rich?
No, that's where they should be.
And then it rounds it out. Army in Colorado.
Clemson should be at 6. I wish Army would go to 15 and flip flop with Army and A&M.
What I think, I could see the Colorado leapfrogging A&M and pushing everybody back one pace, if that makes any sense. So
no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Brendan. He wishes Army and Boise were flipped. So we'll keep the show rolling the last 20 minutes here before the college football playoff. We can let everybody go enjoy that. Indiana, Michigan. Jim Harbaugh once stated about Ryan Day that he was born on third base. Sherrod Moore was handed a reigning national championship, a Ferrari-like defense, and they are driving off a cliff at.
And they're teeter-tottering off the cliff
at an accelerated rate. I don't know who Michigan has the last couple of years, but they are staring 5-7 in the face. Michigan is. I've got to look now, but they are staring 5-7.
I feel like somebody made that prediction this year.
The 5-7 or 6-6. Yeah, it is not going good for the boys in blue.
They're off this weekend. Yeah, they're off this weekend. They got the Weenie Washers next weekend, and then they come to Columbus to get their derrieres kicked in.
Oh, Ryan Day is a soft coach. Ohio State is a soft team that only cares about NIU and going pro. Well, I don't think Ohio State's soft. I feel like they're in the driver's seat now. Will the fan base lose their mind if they lose to Indiana? Oh, NIL.
Everything's going to burn down in Columbus if they lose to Indiana.
And I think
they're going to be coming off pitchforks and torches to the Woody to get him out of there.
Here's a interesting thing that we got rolling here. If you're Michigan, do you look at moving on from Sherrod Moore after 1 year?
I would. I'd put in Tony Alford. He's an offensive line coach. You need somebody with offensive, somebody that's offensive minded like Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh was a quarterback guy. Tony Alford played tailback. You got to have not an offensive line coach. I mean, yes, they know their stuff, but I think they need to go Tony Alford.
You're looking for an offensive guru.
Yes, a guru. Yes.
Well, I mean, just get on Twitter. There's a ton of them on there.
There's plenty. Plenty 48-0 coaches from College Football 25 that know how to run the multiple offense playbook.
Yes. Real quick on a side note, while we have Ohio State and Michigan on the brain here, did you see the CJ Hicks video with Austin Ward?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Why would you publish that? Is the only thing I would like to ask. Why was that
Austin Ward's a dork, dude. Like, come on.
like? And then you go up to him, and like CJ Hicks has a ton of pizza, and CJ hasn't clearly been playing, and like he walks up to him and like, "Oh, silly dilly okey K," walks over to him and says, um, I don't even remember what he said. And then Justin Fry just walks by in the camera frame, just staring at the camera like, "What are you doing?" He gave him like the "What are you doing?" look. It was just all cringe, very cringe. And
Oh, it was
also
awkward city. Austin Ward is the biggest tool shed out of the Buckeye sports media. I mean, he just reminds me of that kid from high school. Who's like, hey, so are you gonna be blitzing anytime soon? Like, dude, what the hell kind of question is like? What are you asking? Like,
are you on a blitz? I believe was the question.
yeah, or something like that.
It's just not a good look. Not a good look
No.
whatsoever. But anyway, moving on to more pressing matters. I don't know if Michigan will make a move at on Sharon Moore. I think Michigan is Ward Manuel is dumb. He looks like the boss from what is that? Boss
Workaholic?
Baby.
Oh, Boss Baby. Oh, my daughter watches. I've never watched Boss Baby.
He looks like one of those. He looks like a cartoon villain. And he's also in charge of the college football playoff. It just really doesn't make any sense. But okay. Moving on. Is Fox Big Noon Kickoff killing college football?
Yeah, it's not the same energy as it was when it first came out years ago.
Like, are they picking crap? It's not that the matchups are crap, but like, I feel like the Ohio State Indiana game should be on at 3:30.
I agree with that. Not at 12. That's for a big game like that. You need to have build up. You need to put like Rutgers and Maryland, or not Rutgers and Maryland, Rutgers and Michigan State at that 12 o'clock slot. Then move Ohio State to 3:30 because that build up and people tailgating. They're going to get
Brendan loves it. But
they're gonna get more amped up. People are gonna become alive. They're gonna come alive when the seeding comes. The energy is gonna be different versus a 12 o'clock game. I went to a 12 o'clock game this year. It was dead as hell in there.
I mean, it's just like it's just not. I'm not gonna say it's not fun, but like the NFL figured something out when they went to the 1 o'clock starts because it's not too early. It's just right in the sweet spot. That is prime programming for Sundays is 1 p.m. It's appointment television at that point, and noon. I don't know what a lot of people do on their on Friday night, but I'm not like if I have to go to an Ohio State game, and even if I'm in Columbus, you got to get up by 8:30, 10 o'clock, and just to be down there to tailgate. It just
I know for me, like if my dad and I, if we're going down at the end of November, we got to leave my house by 6 o'clock and get down to Columbus by 8 so we can at least get some tailgate. I mean, that's a full day. Then you got the game at noon, and it's going to take forever to get out of there in traffic. We won't get home till like 7 o'clock. It's like a 12-hour day.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and that's you guys being up in Canton, that's a haul for you. But by the time you get back to the hotel, if you it's just I'm just not a fan of the noon games because like did anybody, even though LSU was getting their teeth kicked in, but did anybody see that atmosphere? Like they're playing Wipe It Down, talking about the chant that Pat McAfee had to trying to get Brian Kelly to say about performing a sex act on a tiger. It's that's what it is. I mean, even the people even the mid games in the SEC at night. SEC at night, there's nothing bigger than SEC at night, and Fox refuses to compete with it. Like, what was a night game a couple weeks ago? Minnesota, UCLA. That's going to get the people going. That is just like, come on, like, what are we doing? It just, oh yeah, the LSU fans are down bad right now, but you know we're coming into it to where in this recruiting thing, Rich, what would you rather do? Would you rather go to the Horseshoe at noon or go to LSU Bama at night in Baton
I
Rouge?
go to LSU Bama at night in Death Valley, Tiger Stadium, where the place is rocking, versus 12 o'clock where the old heads are yelling at kids to sit down because they can't see.
It's two totally different atmospheres,
It's completely, totally different.
and also here's another thing too. Ohio State, Ross Bjork. This is for you. Have producer Ed clip this up, and we'll send it to him. How about you stick your foot up Jerry Emick's ass and get him to promote Will Howard for Heisman? How about that?
Please. Yeah, how about that? And promote your top freshman wideout, for crying out loud. The kid's playing. He's a man amongst boys out there.
And it just really bothersome because pretty much Will Howard and Dylan Gabriel have the same stats.
They do have this very identical.
Here's another one from Brendan.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that is an embarrassing loss.
I mean, it's an embarrassing loss, but the problem we got is the atmosphere, because they can sell to you. How about you come here and you can turn this around?
Right.
It's just like what Hugh Freeze is selling at Auburn, and also the sentiment coming out of that is that the Cunningham kid that's committed to Alabama was at the Ole Miss game, and so was Deuce Knight, and they tried to keep it under wraps that he was there. So the original prediction from may come true, that Deuce Knight ends up at Ole Miss. I don't know if it's going to be true, but the Auburn fans are going to be reliving the Notre Dame fandom because he was committed to Notre Dame over a year, goes to Big Tiger Weekend, goes to 4 home games, and then flips to Auburn. One of the big things with Deuce Knight is that he has an independent NIL deal from outside of any collective that's very lucrative with a trading card company. So that's why Deuce Knight can
Panini?
say, huh?
Is it Panini?
I think so. But it's a independent NIL deal, I believe so. I'm pretty sure Carter's got all those details, and we'll have Carter out tomorrow, and he can get some of that. And who would have thought that this is where we'd be. This is the chaos of college football. We're running up against it here. So we're getting ready to close it out right before the selection show that we got going on tonight. We got our graphic out there, and but yeah, it's for me on the recruiting trail. It's hard for the Big Ten to compete with the SEC is when it comes to even just game day experience. Although I can't believe they gave the Sanders kid and his family a house and a suite, but whatever. It's not my money. But take a look at Tennessee, Georgia this weekend, and that is going to be an electric atmosphere.
Well, they're going to be jumping up and down there in Knoxville.
I mean, you could ride a boat up to the stadium, tailgate on a boat. It's just there's a couple of TikTok videos out there, people just looking at the game day atmosphere, even at Ole Miss, the Grove. It is a wild endeavor down there. So this is where we're at. The Big Ten trying to compete with the SEC, and I'm not trying to show for the SEC, but just look at the TV and look at the games.
Proof is in the pudding.
And it's just, sorry, it doesn't do anything for me when we have Rutgers versus Penn State.
It's a real barn burner. Yeah, it's a very attractive matchup. Oh yeah, it's a snoozer.
Like I would argue that I would rather watch Conference USA football. I'd rather watch Rich Rod's team. I'd rather watch Jacksonville State. At least they're exciting on offense.
I'd rather watch Maction.
Yeah, Maction that we got going on tonight. The Ziggy Zumbas, the Fighting Zach Smiths, where he was a wide receiver. He played there for Urban back in the day. The Ziggy Zumbas are up on Western. Ball State is leading Buffalo, and Toledo. Jason Candle is kicking in the
CTE
guy
Chippewas.
The Chippewas, the Fighting Antonio Browns with the gold teeth. I still, to this day, have no idea what college football program let him take a picture with gold teeth in his mouth like that. It just was very cringe. We should have known back then. But
it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, Toledo is looking good. I think Jason Candle might get a look at a Big Ten job. Michigan here. Brendan's got another one for us. Michigan, Washington, and USC being down hurts the Big Ten. That is a true statement.
Truth, 100% tenfold.
And I think USC needs an LA guy to take that job. Washington, Jed Fish, I think he might be 2 years away. Michigan in Sharon Moore, don't know what we have there or what's going on. Just a lot of the things I'm hearing there, just not good. And also, I want to take the time out to throw it in there that Purdue is the worst team in the Big Ten. Purdue is the absolute worst team in the Big Ten. Richie will be back here in a second, but Purdue is the worst team in the Big Ten, and I don't know what is Ryan Walters. There was talking. I seen Message Board Genius was throwing out there some stuff on the fans. The fans are thinking about boycotting the Penn State game because I believe they have Penn State at home this weekend. It's not going to be good. And then we have USC hit with some sanctions, although Lincoln Riley is not getting fined, and that's I just feel like
that is true. How bad Stanford has been since Hairball left.
I wasn't gonna bring that up, but I'm just saying that I don't know. I mean, really, when you think about it, Darryl Shaw kind of did not modernize that program because when he came along, the RPO took off like wildfire. He was still running 32 personnel, and you just can't do that. But also Harbaugh had Toby Gerhart, Heisman Trophy candidate, and
Luck.
Yeah, Andrew Luck. So that's just what it is. Ball State kicking a field goal. Jim McElwain is pissed because they just fumbled the ball. It is not looking good there in Toledo. But I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to the quarterback for the most part. Ball State kicks the extra point. They take a 11-point lead. The Ziggy Zumbas. We need to get it close to wrapping it up. Almost all the Maction games are going to be at halftime, in which it's strategically placed, I believe, for the college football show to the selection show. I bet the selection show will be over right before halftime. What do you want to bet on that?
Oh, it'll
So
be quick. It'll be quick.
So we're right at an hour, but we appreciate.
Quick like Schramm's coaching tenure, head coaching
Yeah.
tenure.
So with that being said, the only thing we can do is ask you to hit the like and subscribe button. Help us grow this show, and we're gonna keep it moving. We'll be back tomorrow, 7:30. Right here, turn on the bell notification so you know when we're live. Right at 7:30. Brendan hitting you with the Go Irish, and hopefully everybody's team gets ranked where they want them to. Probably not. But yeah, if you're watching on Twitter, come on over to YouTube and like Brendan here and get in the conversation. Like to answer questions and get involved with the show. But yeah, just if you like this content, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us grow this show, and furthermore, that helps us bring better content. So, with that being said, Rich, you got anything else left to add?
No, I don't have anything else. We got the Golden Flashes play tomorrow night. Let's see if they get a dub.
Ooh, that's exciting. I think you should go to the game.
I don't know where it's even at.
So, but with that being said, everybody hit the like and subscribe button, and we will see you tomorrow.
Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the flip side.
Yep. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's see here.